So this is the last point I want to make. I was very happy to see the most recent issue of Attachment in Human Development with 3 articles devoted to this topic. One by Michelantzer and Shaver, who are very prominent attachment researchers, and one by Patrick McNamara, who's a very prominent neuroscientist. So I'm very happy to see this. I'm glad that this is no longer a fringe topic of study. And I would emphasize to you all, don't underestimate the power of dreams. In this study, we found evidence that people's working models of attachment and their relationship dynamics did map on nicely with what they were dreaming about, and those dreams also predicted subsequent behavior with their romantic partners the following day. So that's that. I will leave you with that, and thank you to my collaborators, my mentors, and my research assistants, and I'll take any questions you have. Yeah.
Actually, like, I had a question throughout your talk, and you actually addressed it with your second study. I was thinking about how, like, your procedure can actually possibly influence your results. So I actually do underestimate your dreams, no offense, but I think I probably wouldn't be as influenced, but I feel if somebody's on the fence or actually does put a lot of stock into dreams, it's possible that maybe, you know, their results are being, you know, influenced by that, you know.
Sure, sure.
And then a follow-up question to that would be, are there, I mean, and like, you're not the first person that, you know, study dreams. Are there any ethical considerations that people take into account? Because, as you also mentioned, you know, it could possibly affect people's behavior. So let's say I personally don't think dreams are anything. So if I have a dream where I'm cheating on my girlfriend, or girlfriend cheating on me, it's probably not going to influence me much. But if I'm in a study and I'm recording my dreams, and it's like, oh, maybe dreams mean something, you know, it might actually, you know, ruin relationships or affect people's daily lives.
It's a very interesting point, and actually, the IRB here did raise the same point when I was applying to, you know, have the study approved, and they said, you know, what are you going to do if people have disturbing dreams? You know, it's a tough call, and the most I think we can do is, and we've done this in my study, is emphasize that counseling services are available to anyone who has significantly distressing dreams. And with regards to an impact on the relationship, I would argue that even if it results in arguments or breakups, that could actually be a beneficial thing. If the relationship isn't going well, and the dreams are cluing them into that, that might actually be a blessing in disguise.
But I mean, you cannot, I mean, at least my perspective would be that it's possible the dream doesn't mean much. I mean, I know you don't subscribe to that theory, but I mean, there's that possibility. You know, I feel like it could be both. I mean, it could be that the dream means it's like the Rosetta Stone, where it's like, this is, you know, what you need to know. But it's also possible that it's just, you know, I had a chili dog and it kind of upset me and I had this dream. You know, and that, I mean, and I feel like not entertaining that possibility, you know, because it could have been a worthwhile relationship, and then now I'm not in it because I had a dream that could cheat on me. So
well, that's definitely why I formed the, you know, the method for the second study to address those questions, and I'm hoping to get at that very point that you make. In terms
has that ever been explored before? Like,
I mean, there's forever going to be confounds with how we measure the importance people assign to their dreams with general dream recall. And Mark Blagrove actually has a really interesting chapter, if you're interested, in the New Science of Dreaming book, where he discusses dream recall and how the research on it and its connection with personality or individual differences is very mixed. So yes, there are some studies that have looked at attitudes towards dreams and dream recall and their connection with personality and other variables, but they've yielded really inconsistent findings. And a lot of it actually has to do with methodology. If you're assessing dream recall with a retrospective self-report versus with a diary or versus a lab study, you're going to find different things. You're going to find different rates of positive and negative emotions. You're going to find different, you know, what people are actually dreaming about. The content is going to be different. So I just think we need more research to address that question, basically. Yeah?
In your second study, you asked them how often do you think about the dream during the day, I believe, or something along those lines. And I was just wondering if just like ruminative tendencies had any kind of correlation, or if you looked into that at all, just the possibility of being a person who just goes over things.
That's an interesting point. The closest we have to that, we have a measure of, one of Art Aaron's measures, the highly sensitive person measure, which I think might somehow address that. And we also have general anxiety measures included, self-esteem. So it's possible that those variables are maybe indirectly addressing that tendency for people to ruminate. I would suspect more anxious people would ruminate more, and we do have that measure. So we can definitely look at that when we do analyses for the second sample.
Because I'd just be curious, because you know, if we were to break it down to like 3 different types, like good dreams with your partner, bad dreams with your partner, or neutral, like the red umbrella or whatever. You think of good dreams, I would imagine, to feel good and keep in that happy thought. But those bad dreams, the little vignettes you showed us were saying like, you know, I wanted to know what it meant, and I wanted
Right.
to see, you know, why was he jealous, or why was I with this other person?
Sure.
So that sounds like a script for ruminating.
Sure, absolutely. And yeah, we can definitely look more into that. Absolutely. Yeah.
This may go with some of your other questions, but I think it'd be interesting to look at whether people like trust what their dreams are maybe trying to tell them something. You know, if they're dreaming that they're, you know, with another partner, but they're, you know, they trust that maybe they really don't want to be with, you know, the partner they're with, or if they're dreaming that their partner is being, you know, is cheating, whether they
Right.
trust that maybe that's telling them something. So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to look at whether people they take them seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that also gets to what Angel was saying before, how there's just probably some individual variation in the meaning that people ascribe to dreams, and hopefully we can, you know, really get at that point with this study. Yeah.
So I'm going back to one of the early studies that you mentioned about the smokers who dream about.
Oh yeah.
The quitters who are people
Sure,
quitting
sure.
smoking who dream about smoking are able better to quit. So would that not imply that if you dream about cheating, you're less likely to cheat? I mean,
And that's an interesting point, and I would love to study that and look at, you know, self-reports of, you know, how many times have you cheated in the past 6 months or whatever, and then how many dreams they had where they were doing that, to see if there's any relationship between the two. It would stand to reason that, you know, in consistency with the previous research, if people had guilty feelings associated with those dreams, that would make them less likely to actually do it in life. But if they were feeling good in that dream, maybe they would, you know, feel better about doing it later.
And then I just, you brought up the gender issue.
Sure.
So have you looked at your sample? I mean, you did have 25%
Yes.
male. So
Yes. There was one major difference in terms of the script score that people had in their dreams based on whether they were male or female. Females had somewhat less secure dreams.
Less what?
Less secure dreams.
Mm-hmm.
They were, I think, about 3/4 of a point lower on the secure based script scale than the men were. And I'm still trying to come up with a good interpretation for that result. Yes.
I have an interpretation.
Okay, go
I think
for it.
The guys that sign up for the study on relationship, was this Mark?
Well, we had to make sure that they were dating for at least 6 months. So yes, we did advertise it as
Okay,
if.
so maybe like the guys that sign up for relationship studies are more secure in their relationships than guys that wouldn't sign up for a relationship study.
That could be. That could be.
And your results, your general results hold true for both the men and the women?
Yes. Yes. Lisa, did you have something or no?
Yeah, so you said you're interested maybe in looking at like, doing a longitudinal study, but so I'm wondering, you said you had pretty wide variability in the relationship lengths, so I'm wondering if you looked at that, whether that was a predictor or moderator of anything?
Yeah, I didn't find any effects with relationship length. I'm going to do a few more analyses with that. I was actually hoping that would be there, but it wasn't. So yeah, I haven't found anything yet. But that could be just because, you know, they're young adults and they've been together for a little over a year. So if we did a comparison with people who have been married for 10 years, maybe there would be a difference as a function of relationship length.
And just one more question,
Sure.
or a suggestion maybe, if you thought about what some of the implications of some of this stuff might be for like couples therapy or something like that. I'm just thinking like for yourself for the future, it might be that you find easier funding for this kind of work, something in that, and maybe, you know, I don't know, you can figure out some way that this could inform what should be going on in
Absolutely,
therapy.
and I appreciate that perspective. I'm glad to hear it. Absolutely, yeah.
2 thoughts. One is the possibility of tying this to some of the conceptual work on emotional disclosure. which,
Right.
there's a voluminous literature now that shows that this is beneficial for us psychologically, even in terms of our physical health. So I wondered, at some point it might be worth looking at other dependent variables
Sure.
in this too, and
Sure.
the benefits of thinking about dreams or dreaming period, or having, working out, to use a psychodynamic
Sure,
term,
sure.
difficult issues.
There have been some dream researchers who have thought about that in terms of, they looked at the general disclosure of emotions and disclosure of dreams and
Mhm.
kind of compared the two, but not in a way that specifically addresses health-related outcomes. So that's
Mhm.
definitely something that I would like to do.
Yeah, I
in
think
the
that'd be
future.
really interesting. And then the second thing is, not to dismiss so easily the idea that in the first part of your talk where you said that if you try to